This room features musical instruments handmade in the Ozarks. Hey, Kelly, you want to talk a little bit about these instruments?
I would love to. You know, we are very proud of this room, and I'm glad to share it. This is some of the finest folk art from the state of Arkansas that we know about, and so we've got quite a few folks represented in this room. This is this wall over here is Jim Lee, and he is. All these, you know, one thing they all have in common is they just basically have reinvented the instrument. We don't know whether to call this a guitar or a banjo. It's tuned like a banjo, but carved out of a single piece of wood.
Yeah.
This is crabapple and cedar.
Wow.
And
yeah.
they play good. They're nicely made. The craftsmanship is fine. And even though it's out of kilter, like it's 4 strings tuned like a banjo, these people are just so unique. This man is, my favorite thing about Jim is that he won't make an instrument if he doesn't have a relationship with the tree.
Oh, wow.
So he can tell you a story about every instrument and the tree that it came from. This one is all cedar.
Oh, wow.
Which is
that's a beautiful
never
piece
used
of
in
cedar.
guitar making, ever. You know, that I know about. It's not Eastern cedar.
Okay.
It's so resinous. Western cedar is great.
Okay, okay.
And cedar on the top, which is, once again, a no-no. And then bone frets.
Oh, wow. Oh, man.
It's a magnificent piece of work.
Uh-huh.
And it's light and it's well made and it has a great sound.
It really does.
His banjos are equally as out of kilter, you might say. This one is has a long story that I don't have time to tell you at the moment, but this is the yellow cat banjo with a yellow cat there. And there is a, look at this.
Oh, wow. Look at that.
It's almost more Native American looking. It's got a leather head. Sounds great. And perhaps the star of the show is Ed Stilley. And I got so involved with this man that I ended up writing a book. There's Ed Stilley. I wrote this book for the University of Arkansas to document his. Dawn and I, my wife, we visited Ed for 30 years and watched him work and became close friends. And his work is really unlike anything. He was told by God at age 50 to make musical instruments and give them to children. And he made hundreds of these and he gave them all to children. In fact, that's what he did until he was too old to keep his hands moving anymore. He died about 3 years ago. And what he did was remarkable. He created instruments. Once again, he basically reinvented the guitar because he didn't know what else to do. He had no instruction. When God told him to do this, he had no teacher and he was living in a remote part of the Ozarks. And so he just started making these very crude instruments that were unplayable at first. But something slowly evolved over the years that was quite playable, like this. And so it's made out of a crazy quilt of different kinds of woods. And the frets are brazing rods. There's BBs here for the position markers.
Oh.
See, it's got an oak neck. It's got a basswood back. It's just this walnut up here. He's got a bone, just steak bone that he would use for the bridge. And best of all is what's inside. This particular, they all have something different. This one is a a pot lid,
Uh-huh.
and an assortment of springs, including door springs. Like,
Yeah.
hear that?
Yeah.
And if you ask Ed what all this is about, remember you talking. This is a man who lived very traditional life and did not know, for instance, a word like reverb. I asked him. He didn't know what that was, but he figured out how to create reverb on an acoustic instrument by putting stuff inside. If you ask him about that, people would always say, "Well, why do you put all that stuff in there, Ed?" And he'd say, "To better speak the voice of the Lord."
Oh, wow.
Which is so charming. You can't.
Just so much.
But you can hear. I'll demonstrate for you. You will hear the reverb loud and clear.
Okay. Oh, man.
Amazing. It actually plays.
Yeah. That's really, really nice.
Who would think? But all of these instruments, we took them all to the doctor and had them all x-rayed. So we have about 40 instruments x-rayed. We've never found all 200 something of them. We've found about 40 or 50, and we don't own them all. We've somehow meandered into about 8 or 9 that we own now, or a few of them are on loan, permanent loan. But we love to share them with them. The story is so beautiful that people are always deeply moved. I'll give you here's a strange one. This is a banjo. It may not be obvious to you this is a banjo.
Yeah.
It's even a 5-string banjo.
Yes, it is.
Ed didn't think too much about the shape. His shape, the shape almost seems random.
Yeah.
But, it's kind of quiet.
But it's so clear.
It's not producing a big sound.
But it's got a really nice sound.
Yeah, it's very beautiful. The thing we think about this, my wife and I have thought about this. This one doesn't have a saw blade. It doesn't have a pot lid. It's utterly different. It doesn't have some of the normal ingredients. It has wind chimes. And they only work when it's on its back. So we think this is a lap steel banjo.
Okay.
And we don't have any evidence of that, but we think it might be. You got to wiggle your knee,
Yeah. I think it is a lap steel banjo. Yeah.
Yeah. Why else? Because see, it stops. You don't
Yeah.
it.
It's like having an off switch almost.
But he was caught. Now he didn't just make guitars. This is Donna's fiddle. They all, by the way, I didn't mention they all have the most important part for Ed. Definitely true faith, true light. Have faith in God. And he was a devotional folk artist. And, Don and I have always felt that was very important, even though we're agnostic ourselves. This was his motivation, and the reason he did it was he wanted people to see those words.
Right. Yeah.
And this one has a chainsaw sprocket here, and the door springs, and other little details. I love. This is a good example of the crudeness of some of his work. It's a strange mix of crudeness and sophistication. Here you see what most people would think, that doesn't look finished. Like, that's not done. But for Ed, that was done. But then on the same instrument, you look and you see something like this. Now, he didn't have to do that. He didn't have to go to the trouble to do that, but he did. And so it's interesting how he would leave something like this unfinished, and he would leave that quite elegant.
Yeah.
And also he took the time to round the back of all of the instruments. So you see here he's got nails. Nails are not normally used in lutherie,
Not often.
But he would take the time to make each of the surfaces rounded. The top is rounded too, and it has a little bit of a curve to it. And I don't know that contributes anything. The top and the bottom are so thick that they really don't function like a guitar. But the reason they work at all is because they have a nice big resonant area, and they have this metallic resonator thing in the middle. But this is a totally functional. Donna plays. We use this in shows. We have several songs we've written in honor of Ed Stilley, and we use them in our concerts. And people love it. It's such a beautiful thing to be able to take something like this into a concert and tell the story, and people always resonate and are touched. Yeah.
Well, you and Donna have a gift for knowing how to share.
Thank you. I have a few more odds and ends I'll show you. These two instruments are fun. Okay, these are made by a man named Elliot Smith, and Elliot is from Jasper, Arkansas, and he turned 100 last year, and then I'm afraid he passed away, but he made it to 100. And we were actually at his birthday party, and got to play with him one last time. He was still able to dabble with the fiddle a little bit. But the violin I'm holding here,
artwork on those things is
the beautiful,
out at you.
Beautiful. This, you might notice, this has 8 strings. Now that's weird, but it's not. The reason for that is because this gentleman had seen a picture of a Hardanger fiddle from Norway, and which is a folk instrument with 8 strings, and he thought, well, I'll make one. And so this has got 4 strings that go under the fingerboard, and resonate sympathetically. With the other 4. So otherwise, it's a normal violin. And it plays like a violin, except it has that beautiful ethereal resonant quality. Donna, the funny story about this is that Donna wanted this. This man, he wasn't giving them away to children. He wanted, I think he wanted $1,500 for this. It's worth it.
Well,
but we don't have money to spend on that. Instruments like that. So Donna was really disappointed. She really loved it. And we went home, and she was just pining away about it. And finally, she decided to call him and tell. He knew that we wrote songs about instrument makers. And so she said, "Well, Elliot, if I write you a song, will you trade it for that fiddle?" And he said, "Sure." and anyway, so we wrote the song, and we go to present the song to him, and he'd already written her name in inlay in mother of pearl. In the neck.
That is so great.
Lovely thing. So, and the other instrument I'm holding that is an Elliot creation is a banjo that looks quite traditional. It's got incredibly ornate inlay on the top, on the peg head, actually all over it. But that's just kind of off the charts. Remember, we're talking about a man. He made this probably when he was 92. And
it just goes
and
on
it just
and
keeps
on
going,
and
and look, it's even carved on the heel.
Oh my gosh.
But one thing that's not real obvious is that this was actually the brake drum of a DeSoto vehicle, a 1946 specifically. It was an aluminum brake drum that was an experimental thing after the war that did not pan out. I don't think it was a successful idea, but
not for cars, but not so bad for banjos.
Yeah, no, exactly. So, and by the way, it's a perfectly excellent banjo.
Yeah,
nothing wrong. It's got a leather head, which I kind of miss the old leather heads on banjos.
Yeah, that's a beautiful instrument.
It works good, but. That's a thrilling instrument.
Yeah. What's the story behind this 8-string instrument there?
Let's see.
The one that...
This one?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's interesting. Okay, so this was a one of a kind. It's the man who owned it had custom ordered it from a gentleman.
Oh, it's a 9-stringed instrument.
Yeah, it's a 9-string. It's George Swafford from Fort Smith, Arkansas. And we never have met that gentleman. He, when the owner passed away, his name was Harmless T. Jester. Okay, so he was a magnificent vaudeville style sword swallower, fire breather, juggler, all around entertainer. And he was legendary.
Yeah.
And when he died, his widow gave us this. This was his instrument. He called it a funjo. It's a banjo. I know you're surprised.
Okay.
It's a banjo.
No, I see it now that you tell me what it is.
It's tuned right now in like a C banjo.
Yeah.
It's lovely. It sounds like a music box.
Yeah. Oh, wow. That is.
We've been doing this so long. It's such a mystery. But because we have shown great interest in this, we've become instrument magnets, and people just give us stuff. And I feel so fortunate. But it comes with the cost, and that cost is that it's our responsibility to share it.
Yeah.
So I'm happy to do this for you right now.
And then you've got care and feeding to do to take care of them as well.
I spend a lot of time in here tuning them all. Most of the days you can pick up almost anything up here, and it's either in tune or quite close.
Quite close.
And we have a lot of visitors, and so I try to keep them all working good and ready to play. And it's a hands-on sort of museum. We don't tell people they can't touch, and if they take it off the wall. Nothing makes me happier than watching a good musician pick up one of these instruments and be charmed by it. Yeah. And some people don't get it, and some people absolutely eat it up. So, yeah, I'm glad to get to show you all these treasures.
Yeah, I'm just having a ball. This is great. Well, thank you, Kelly.
You're very welcome.
Okay.
Happy to do it.
Yep.
Elliott Smith. Back to Jim Lee. I didn't talk about the cases at all, but the cases are magnificent. This is you end up having to get a case for the case. I play this instrument live at our shows, and I don't want to beat this case up.
No.
Look how beautiful it is.
Oh my! Oh my!
Now Jim was upset when this tree came down. There were some raccoons that got displaced, and so it says here, "My apologies to the raccoons of the Niobrara River."
Oh.
So that talks to that thing about him being so reverent about the tree. And the meaning of this. So Jim is almost deaf, and he reads lips very well. But he's a musician as well. Even he feels the vibrations. This says, "Poor hearing speaks to the heart," in a Native American symbol. I don't know too much about this, but that's what he told us, and it's important to him.
Yeah.
But he didn't get bogged down. He had several different ways of making cases. This was made in a relatively traditional way, but this one is utterly different. It's It's a basket. It's like woven together like a basket out of cedar strips. And if you open it, once again, all of them, they just make you want to curl up there and go to sleep.
Oh my! Well, of course, the instrument that this fits is so unique that it wouldn't fit any other kind of case.
That's true. They fit. The fit is just gorgeous. Because once again, he was a craftsman, a very fine craftsman. Nothing crude about his work at all. He had another way of building cases, like this one. Now he made this instrument for Donna. He really admires Donna, my wife. Yeah. And So this is made out of sawdust,
Oh, good grief.
and he would combine it with epoxy, I believe,
Uh-huh.
and he would create a styrofoam mold of the instrument, and then he would wrap it around with all this, somehow mold this sawdust to the top, and then usually this one is wool inside, and this is made for a tiny little banjo that he made for Donna. Check this out.
Oh,
It's just it
just
fits in
perfect.
there like a little glove.
It's just absolutely perfect.
It's beautiful.
Yeah.
I have one more Jim Lee thing to share with you that it'll be fun,
Okay.
fun for you to film.
All right. I'm ready.
All right, here it comes. So Jim Lee and his buddies were all real good at carving wooden chains.
Uh-huh.
And by that, I mean this used to be one piece of wood,
Uh-huh.
and then it was carved with a pocket knife into all these links,
Yeah.
and it actually becomes a working chain.
Yeah.
Okay? All right. This is a Jim Lee chain.
Will it ever stop? My gosh. Oh.
Done with a pocket knife.
Oh my goodness.
Ah, there it is.
There it is.
30 feet.
30
30
feet.
feet.
Oh man.
Now I will.
Oh, and it's got a
got a
hook on the
A
top.
hook on the end. I will tell you that just to be sure that if people seeing this might say, well, 30 feet, how are you going to do that? Well, I don't know if that's... We know of a chain that's 26 foot long, one piece, one solid piece. This, Jim told us, was actually 3 10-foot pieces.
Okay.
Okay. Still, no small accomplishment, you know.
Not at all.
But he joined them with glue every 10 feet.
Okay.
So... Still, it's
He didn't have to tell us that. That was awfully nice.
Yeah. You're right. You're right. But Jim Lee, what a dear person he is. He's still alive.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's doing okay.
Well, this is wonderful, Kelly. Thank you so much.
You're very welcome. Happy to share with
All right.
with you.